Okay, welcome back, Truth Seeker. Friday, August 9th, 2019. As per usual, let's start off with a little bit of review. We're running late, but it's okay. The games are still a ways off. I'll say about this first game today. We had 2 good days of date numerology. Yesterday, it wasn't there. If it's back on point today has 29 date numerology. Just notice the Athletics could get that 29th away win. The White Sox could get that 29th home loss as well. I think that's probably in the numbers there. And just because yesterday's date numerology was off, I'm not totally discouraged. We did have one decent day and then one really good day. And then yesterday, it was back to hit and miss. But there's some 29s on the board, and they could make a lot of sense today. But again, let's review first, then get to today's games. We're going to talk about baseball. We're going to talk about golf. We're going to talk about football. Some interesting things observed last night in the preseason games. All right, so the Yankees beat the Blue Jays, and to get up yesterday's notes, what we said about this Yankees series was that if the Yankees swept, they would get to 36 away wins. Toronto's 36 in both reduction ciphers. And if the Blue Jays were swept, they'd also get to 74 losses. New York Yankees is 74. If the Blue Jays lost 3 out of 4, so they avoided the sweep and only took 1, they would have 37 home losses, and Yankees is 37. So I am thinking the Yankees will take at least 3 out of 4 in this series, but it really could make a bunch of sense if they won 4 straight. Yesterday, German, his next career win was 17, which he did pick up, if I'm not mistaken. He did get his 17th career win yesterday, the 15th of the season. Toronto Blue Jays is 59, the 17th prime, so that was there as well. So this day in history riddles were good yesterday. The pitcher riddles were good. The date numerology was the missing piece, but the date numerology did help us see that Braves could be upset, and they were yesterday. Braves had a few things going against them yesterday, so hopefully you took advantage of that game. The Angels were major underdogs yesterday. They did have a chance at their 28th away win on the 28 date numerology, and in light of the 27 date numerology, every single 27 date numerology riddle came through 2 days ago. If you missed that live stream, if you missed that work, 2 days ago was 27 date numerology. Every single 27 date numerology riddle came through. On the 26 date, 2/3 of the riddles came through, which is about how date numerology usually is with sports. Of course, this year with baseball, it's been on and off. So we're trying to see if we're getting back into an on period. Yesterday made it think like, maybe not, but we'll see. We'll see what happens today. So anyway, the Angels did have a shot at that 28th away win. They did not get it. They were major underdogs. We also saw that there was a narrative for the Angels pitcher to lose, and he did. So we talked about that. The Twins had a shot at the 28th win in the AL Central. Notice the Braves stayed on 28 wins versus the AL East. That means today they can get their 29th win on the 29 date. But the Twins had a narrative through the date numerology to beat the Indians. I think down below with the pitchers. Or it was the team narratives. Oh, it was this day in history we saw that the Indians could get their 62nd win and Minneapolis was 62. So again, date numerology was great last week when we first started looking at it. This week it's been mostly off, but yesterday it was mostly on, so still trying to sort that out. Seems that everything in baseball is ebbing and flowing, which is so weird. I don't know how they can orchestrate this, but okay, so the Twins did not get the 28th win versus the AL Central. The Braves did stay on 28 wins versus the NL East. The Reds had an opportunity to stay on 28 losses in the NL Central, but they lost to the Cubs. And the Rockies had a chance to stay on 28 losses in the NL West, but they lost as well. And staying on a number is never that strong of a riddle. It's more about picking it up. But on the 27 date, every 27 riddle came through, including staying on the number for the date. So that's why we were watching yesterday to see if it'd be more of the same. Okay, so for the pitchers yesterday, again, German got his 17th career win. Toronto Blue Jays 59 the 17th prime. Dylan Peters for the Angels did get the loss and became 5-5 for his career, 2-1 for the season. 5-5 matters because Los Angeles is 55, Boston, Massachusetts is 55. The Royals and Tigers game was a wash because both pitchers' records could have made perfect sense. Let's see, did Matthew Boyd get the win? No, he didn't get the decision. Either starting pitcher could have made sense in that one, though. Dallas Keuchel, we saw that he could get his 68th career loss, and he did get his 68th career loss. Miami Marlins is 68. So that was one of the other things going against the Marlins. The Marlins had the date numerology not in their favor. They had Keuchel. And again, the riddles with Keuchel have been really tight with the team since he made his debut with the Braves. We've done really well with Keuchel's starts. We saw Aaron Nola for the Phillies could become 10-3 for the year. He did get the loss. 103 is the 27th prime. He wears the number 27. And notice the score was 5-0. San Francisco 50. Go figure. John Gray's next career win was 43. He was with the Rockies. Could have got it against San Diego. San Diego 43. Colorado's 43. It wasn't so. I think he actually got the loss. He did. He became 10-8, that old major league number. But I was thinking that was a good opponent for the 43rd career win. If the Rockies end up losing 2 out of the remaining 3, they will get to 38 away losses. We know how big that number is with Colorado. Colorado and San Diego are both 38, so maybe that's where that's going. Maybe that's why John Gray got the loss. But had Gray won, it would have set him up for the next opponent too. So I was actually thinking that one would come through. For this day in history, the Yankees could have picked up their 49th loss. Blue Jays was 49. I didn't put much weight on that, though, because the German thing made sense. This day in history had been cold. So I'm not surprised that one didn't come through. The Angels did pick up their 32nd loss in Boston. Boston's 32. The Marlins did become 13-13 by winning yesterday on this day. Braves is 41, the 13th prime. Miami's 45. When you write out 13, it's 45. They wear the M on the cap. M's 13. The Indians did pick up their 62nd win. Minneapolis is 62. And the Giants did pick up their 65th win. Philadelphia is 65. So, last week, this is how this day in history was. It was very consistent. It was, 70% or better each day we looked at it. But then the first 3 days of this week, Monday through Wednesday, it was sub 50%. So I'm still going to continue to look at this. Overall, in the time we've been looking at it, it's still in plus territory. If you just made picks this way, you'd be having a bad week this week. But if you've been doing it since we started looking at it, you'd still be above water, and that's where you want to be. So, and some of the games that haven't come through this week, they would have been major upsets. So that's something else to consider. There was also where the Royals could have got their 22nd loss in this day in history at Boston, and Boston's 22, and they ended up winning that game. So that was probably the most surprising out of this day in history games that didn't come through. But still going to continue to look at that. And so anyway, you're looking at yesterday. The date numerology wasn't really there, but the pitcher riddles mostly came through yesterday. So here, let's just also count it up just from how we looked at it. So German was there. Dylan Peters was there. This game was a wash, so it doesn't count. Keuchel was there. Nola was there. So 4 out of 5 of the pitcher riddles that made sense came through, 80%. This day in history, 80% came through. And then the date numerology, let's see. Wrong, right, wrong. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 out of 5. So not good for the date numerology yesterday, which killed me because I wanted to see it be good. We had one pretty good day, one really great day, and then yesterday wasn't there. So we'll see what happens today. Normally when date numerology gets going, it stays hot. It doesn't have a cold day like that, so keep that in mind. But today for the date numerology, today's a 29 date. again, here's the date numerology up here. I'm only going to focus on the 20-something path. This is the one game where it lines up on both sides. The A's can get the 29th away win, and the White Sox can get the 29th home loss. Now, the only thing that I see conflicting with that is Detweiler. If he won, he'd be 2-2. Oakland's 22. But baseball, man. Typically in sports, baseball is not the best example of this study. You can see every day how the games are scripted by this code, by the scores, and enough of the riddles coming through. But typically, when you get a game in sports and the date numerology lines up on both sides, meaning one team wins, they pick up another team loses, those games almost always come through. And even earlier this year when we started baseball, it was that way. But since things have gotten off, there's been some of these games that have missed. But, I mean, that's a real strong indicator in the world of rig sports. So, say that about that game. Again, staying on the numbers, never a great riddle, but the Red Sox do have a chance to stay on 29 home wins today. So, something to consider with that one. The Nationals today, they could pick up their 29th away loss. Strasburg's on the mound. Last week we had his win streak pegged to be ended against the Nationals, and it did. So we'll see if he can pick up another win streak or if maybe have a little lull here. But that's one thing that could go against the Nationals, that 29th away loss. Another thing that's staring me in the face, though, is if the Nationals win 3 in a row, they'll have 33 away wins. New York's 33, so is Nationals. So if the date numerology's off, that's probably where this is going. Nationals taking 3 straight. That wouldn't surprise me. The Diamondbacks game. The Diamondbacks can stay on 2 29s today versus the Dodgers. They can stay on 29 away losses, and they can stay on 29 losses versus the NL West. And look at who's on the mound, Robbie Ray. Remember, we liked Robbie Ray to end Strasburg's win streak. He became 10-7. Washington Nationals is 107. And what we talked about with that game, him ending the streak, is that if he did become 10-7, he'd face the Dodgers next, who he had his best start against this year, and it would give him a chance to become 11-7. Dodgers is 117, and Arizona Diamondbacks is also 117. So I'm thinking this could be an upset right here. Diamondbacks today, Robbie Ray getting it done in LA. We talked about that when he beat the Nationals. And they were pretty good underdogs against the Nationals, too, at home. Let me see here. Hold on, I got ahead of myself talking about that. If Strasburg... Wait. What did I do? Oh, I see what I did. Hold on. I got to go back. The Braves game. What's interesting today is yesterday we saw the 68 riddle hit with... we saw the 68 riddle hit yesterday with Keuchel picking up his 68th career loss. Miami Marlins is 68. The Braves stayed on 68 wins. Teheran could fall to 6-8 today. But at the same time, the Braves can get their 29th win versus the NL East today, which is something else to consider. The Rockies can stay on 29 losses versus the NL West as well. Okay. I don't put a lot of stock in staying on numbers. It looks like the Rockies very well could lose 2 of the next 3 again to get to those 38 away losses because Colorado's 38 and so is San Diego. The things that stood out with the pitchers, and it's funny how I've just been keeping things simple with the pitchers the last few days, and things have been good with the pitcher riddles. And again, it reminds me that at the beginning of the year we were doing well. I wasn't doing deep analysis. I was just doing the surface level stuff, and typically that's where a lot of this stuff is. I mean, so anyway, the pitcher riddles that stand out. What would go against the date numerology, and I never like to go against a game where the date numerology lines up on both sides, but what could go against it in this one is if Detweiler got the win, he would be 2-2, and Oakland's 22. But actually, I need to make another point. You also got to think it through. Even as well as I know things, sometimes I forget things. Oakland also equals 41 the 13th prime. So if he became 1 and 3, that would also fit in there. And then you get the date numerology on both sides. Something to consider. Hap for the Yankees. If the Yankees were going to lose one in this series, again, there's a strong chance they sweep. But if they were going to lose, what could go against Hap today is if he lost, he'd be 9-7. Ontario's 97, where the game's at, in Toronto, Ontario. And Hap's next career loss is 89. And what's today? It's August 9th. It's 8-9. So that's a little bit interesting. There is a chance. I think if the Yankees were to lose today, they'd win Saturday and Sunday to, again, give the Blue Jays that 37th home loss. Yankees is 37. But yeah, there's still a strong riddle for the Yankees to sweep. So I'm just saying that's the one thing I could see that could go wrong there with Hap. The Angels and the Red Sox, Berea, he could become 4-6 or 5-5. Again, LA Angels is 46, but Los Angeles is 55. Boston, Massachusetts is 55. We saw the pitcher yesterday do the 5-5 thing with the Angels by losing. So you could get the same riddle 2 days in a row. Oftentimes when one riddle hits in a series, you'll see that riddle come up multiple times in the course of the series. If Berea did win today, he would be 5-5. And that would keep the Red Sox on 29 home wins on the 29 date. Brian Johnson, who's on the mound for the Red Sox, if he lost, he'd be 1-2. Los Angeles is 37, the 12th prime. So Angels got a shot. Strasburg with a win today. Again, they do have the date numerology going against them, but Strasburg with a win would stay on 57 career losses. Mets is 57, Nationals is 57. One other thing, though, to consider is Citi Field's 58, location of game. So if he got his 58th career loss, it would be at Citi Field. The Braves and Marlins game, the Braves are playing for their 29th win in the NL East. But that said, we have 2 days in a row with a 68 riddle that could go against the Braves pitcher. Yesterday, Keuchel picked up his 68th career loss. Today, Teheran could become 6-8. Again, Miami Marlins is 68. And if Caleb Smith won, he'd be 8-5. Miami Marlins is 85. If he lost, he'd be 7-6. The reflection is 6-7. Braves is 67, just like how Teheran's 67 right now. But we had the Marlins to upset the Braves yesterday. To take them to upset the Braves 2 days in a row is a little bit dangerous. And for whatever reason, it seems like so often when a team's facing the Marlins, there's a riddle there for the Marlins to upset. We've gotten a lot of great Marlins riddles this year, but there's also been a lot where it looked good for them and it didn't come through, like 2 days in a row with the Tampa Bay Rays in recent memory. So if you got the Marlins yesterday, I think I would just I'd sit this one out. I mean, the riddle is there, but it's just hard to count on the Marlins 2 days in a row. So let you make up your mind. It would make sense on both sides with the pitchers, though. You'd have a Miami Marlins tribute in both records if they won. But again, the Braves got that date numerology, and I'm just not sure if it's going to come back hot like it did 2 days ago. So the Cubs and the Reds, Darvish, he could be 4-6 or 5-5. Reds is 46, Chicago's 46, Chicago Cubs is 46. There is a lot more emphasis on 46, but Chicago Cubs is 55 as well. So it makes that a little bit dangerous. And you know what? I just got to look real quick a little bit more at Yu Darvish's stats. $61.50. His next career loss is 51, and Cincinnati's 51. So that's actually important. Darvish next career loss is number 51, Cincinnati. Whoops, gotta spell it right. There it is. Whoops, still not spelling it right. Cincinnati equals 51. So actually you have more emphasis on the 46 and his 51st career loss. That actually doesn't look too bad there. Games that I skipped, I just didn't see any surface level riddles. Shane Bieber's pitching in Minneapolis, 11-4. Minneapolis, Minnesota, 114. We keep seeing that with pitchers in Minneapolis. It's not going to help us for today. Well, I guess I could look real quick. His numbers a little bit deeper. Shane Bieber, he's 22-9 for his career. Twins is 22. It's hard to say. If he won, he'd be 23-9. 23 is the 9th prime. Doesn't have to come this game. Anyway, Robbie Ray. I think Robbie Ray does have a good chance to upset the Dodgers tonight. You know, we talked about him upsetting Strasburg in the last game to get to this situation. And let me write here, Arizona Diamondbacks, 117. So 11-7 would make a whole lot of sense. He pitched very well last time he faced the Dodgers. So some pitchers really like to bring their A game against the Dodgers. Just like, what's his face for the Padres. This Rockies and Padres game, I don't see anything real clear here other than if the Rockies drop 2 out of the next 3, they'd get to 38 away losses against San Diego's 38 like Colorado. The Mariners have a shot to upset the Rays tonight. If Jalen Beeks lost, he'd be 5-2. Mariners is 52. And if Marco Gonzalez won, he'd become 13-9. Seattle, Washington is 139. So I don't think that's out of the question. If the Rays drop 2 out of 3, they could get to 52 losses as well. And if they only had 67 wins, T-Mobile Park's 67. 67 is the 19th prime, Seattle's 19. So maybe the Mariners could actually take this series. Hard to have faith in the Mariners, but the numbers are there. Keep in mind, you know, the Rays were the team that just had, you know, 2 strong Marlins riddles against them 2 days in a row, and the Rays still won both those games. We did think the Rays would split the series, but both days the Marlins had a narrative to upset. Okay, so now going just through the teams, the things that stand out about the series going on. The Astros' next loss is 41. We see that number come up a lot with Baltimore. Baltimore's 41. Houston's also 41. So perhaps the Orioles do take one in this series. The Orioles beat the Astros earlier this year in Houston. Andrew Kashner was on the mound. That was a huge payout that game. We saw a good riddle for that to happen that day, and it did. The line was near negative 300. So if the Orioles can win in Houston, they can probably win at home too. I do suspect the Astros drop 1 in this series. If they drop 2, Orioles is 42. Baltimore's 41. Orioles is 42, but the overlap's with 41. So I'm thinking that's probably more where it's at. If the Astros 1-2, they'd get to 34 wins. Maryland's 34. Baltimore, Maryland. Astros are a huge favorite today. I don't see anything great with Dylan Bundy to think that today would be the upset day. So his next loss is 43. Astros is 43. That's probably what's coming there. Here, I'll add that note. Let's see. Bundy. Okay, whoops. Bundy can get 43rd career loss. Astros equals 43, the opponent. So that's probably what's coming. Again, I'm doing lighter scans on baseball because I'm working real hard when I'm not on this live stream finishing that football document. Football season's on the horizon. It's what you guys want. But there's people who still want baseball too, so I'm still putting in the time for baseball. And actually, this week with the limited time investment, the numbers still are pretty good. So again, it just reminds me when you keep it more surface level, sometimes it's better. Sometimes you dig too deep, you just look at too many numbers, you get your head swirling, it makes it harder to see what's right in front of your face. So Okay, going through these team riddles. Again, Astros will probably lose one game in this series. Again, Yankees either sweep or win 3, I believe. The Tigers won yesterday, and I was just noticing that if they swept the series, if the Tigers swept the Royals, they'd have 37 wins and 78 losses. Detroit's 37, Tigers is 78. So, I mean, the Tigers sweeping somebody is very unlikely, and that possibility could be over as soon as today. But I just wonder if they win today, I might start to lean that way. So the Royals would also get to 78 losses, and Tigers is 78. The Nationals do have the date numerology going against them today. I suspect if they win today, they'll probably win 3 in a row against the Mets, just because there's that possibility to get to 33 away wins. We've seen how much 33s come up with New York and the Nationals, so that stands out. I'd wait and see what happens with today's game, though, because, again, 29 date numerology, and it's hard to tell what the date numerology is going to do right now. It was 2 good days followed by yesterday, which was not good. If the Marlins lose 2 of their next 3 games, they would have 37 home losses. Atlanta Braves is 37. That sounds about right. And again, the Braves today have the date numerology on their side. They could get the 29th win in the NL East on the 29 date numerology. But the pitchers say Marlins have a chance to upset. So maybe this is the one the Marlins take again, and maybe the Braves win over the course of the weekend. The Cubs and Reds, let's see. Again, we just saw how Darvish could get his 51st career loss. Cincinnati's 51 and become 4-6. Reds 46, Chicago 46, Chicago Cubs 46. The only concern is Chicago Cubs is also 55, but Darvish really does make more sense with the loss. It's amazing how a guy like that could get paid millions of dollars. I mean, it's like, it just shows you how stupid sports are. Why would anybody even want him on their team? I mean, did anyone see what Yu Darvish did in the World Series? He was the worst. Why would you want a guy like that on your team? That's why I hate pro sports. Like, how can intelligent people be billionaires that run sports teams, and then they go out and they show out tens of millions of dollars for a pitcher who absolutely sucked on the most important stage of his career? I mean, that's called a choker. Who wants a choker? Anyway. All right, let's see. The Rangers, if the Rangers lost 3 in a row, they would get to 37 away losses. Milwaukee's 37, Rangers is 37. Could the Brewers go on a nice streak here? It's jumping out. Again, I always like to just consider what could happen at the beginning of the series. Sometimes these reads, they're broken on the first day, but a lot of times they do come through too. So the one thing for the Rangers today that I could say also that needs to be said is if they won today, they would be 9-9 versus the National League, and Brewers is 99. So, and remember, I'll just make another note here: 13 equals 99, M equals 13, like how the Brewers wear that M on their cap. But I think if the Brewers win today, that could be where this is going. So the Rangers upset narratives in their interleague play record. If the Twins lost 2 of 3 to the Indians, they would get to 47 home losses. Indians is 47. That would also mean the Indians would have 47 losses, and Minnesota's 47 as well. So that's something to consider. From the Indians' perspective, actually, let me make another note here. There's another side of this coin to consider. Indians would have 47 losses as well. Minnesota's 47. But the other thing to consider is if Indians only won one game, they would have 32 away wins, and Twins is also 32. So, yeah, that's kind of a wash, actually. All right. If the Pirates won one of the next 3 games, they'd be at 25 wins and 36 losses, actually. St. Louis is 25. Cardinals is 36. It's probably where this series is going. Hudson missed that riddle with 115. Cardinals 115. So, let me just peek real quick and see if there's something else there with this game today. But Cardinals probably take 2 out of 3. 14-7. Do Pirates have a 148 connection? No. Okay. What about Archer? 60-79. St. Louis Cardinals is 61. So Archer's next win is his 61st. Let me sneak that back in here with the pitcher narratives. That would be the Pirates' upset narrative today. Hold on. Where's my pitcher narratives? Alright, so they got a shot because of that, but Chris Archer has not been playing well. Wasn't any date numerology or anything to go with that game. Okay. If the Cardinals took all 3 games at home, they would get to 34 wins. Pirates is 34. That's the other thing to consider with that series. Most teams don't get swept, though. The Dodgers, if they got beat in 2 out of 3 games, they would get to 42 losses. Arizona's 42, Diamondbacks is 42. And I think the Diamondbacks have a good shot to win today. So if they win today, very possible that happens. Again, Robbie Ray, he's on a mission. All right. Again, I do like the Rockies to lose 2 out of the next 3 to get that 38. Colorado, San Diego, both 38. The Rays might only win 1 out of the next 3 games to get to 67. Again, T-Mobile Park 67, 67 the 19th prime, Seattle 19. Jalen Beeks lost tonight. He'd be 5-2. Mariners 52. Marco Gonzalez could be 13-9. Seattle Washington's 139. And the Phillies and Giants. If the Giants lost 2 of the next 3, they would get to 61 losses. Philadelphia's 61. And what was the thing I said earlier? Wasn't there something I had earlier about today's game? I thought there was something about today's game, and maybe not. It is Orange Friday. We've seen the Giants play well on Fridays. What I haven't gone through yet is this day in history. So let's do that together live, and then we'll review what's going on in golf right now with the tournament, and then we will talk about football a little bit more because there were some interesting observations yesterday. If you didn't watch the live stream, want to make sure you get those important notes. But first, let's just do this day in history here. Athletics, White Sox. So today's game between the A's and White Sox. I don't see anything spectacular about this day in history. Let me make sure I'm not missing something. He's got the 56 date numerology, Oakland Athletics 56. All right, so nothing with that game. Astros and Orioles, 25 and 30, 51 and 61. Do Astros have a 62 connection? No. Okay. There's nothing screaming out there about that. Houston Astros is 51 if they stayed on it. All right, Yankees and Blue Jays. Yankees could get their 49th win. Blue Jays is 49. So I'll write that down. All right, so that's one thing. Cubs 66 and 68. Cincinnati 66. 68, 59. Those aren't our numbers. Nationals and Mets. The Nationals 29 and 18. Mets 22 and 27. Those aren't our numbers. Angels and Red Sox, 25 and 24. Just Fenway. No. Okay. 59 and 48, not our numbers. Wait a minute. They're on 59 wins. Los Angeles Angels is 59. All right, Braves and Marlins, let's see. Marlins 14 and 9. Braves 64 and 58. Well, that's interesting. The Braves could get their 59th loss, and Miami Marlins is 59. Yesterday, the pitcher, Dallas Keuchel's been really good, though, about following the teams in Gematria. So yesterday, it's pretty much the same scenario as yesterday for this Braves-Marlins game. The Marlins have this day in history, and they got the pitcher riddle. They had the date numerology yesterday. That's what's different about yesterday. Yesterday, the Marlins had the date numerology in their favor. Today, the Braves have the date numerology in their favor. That's just the one thing that's different. Yesterday, the Marlins had everything that we looked at going their way, and they did get the upset. Royals and Tigers. Royals could get the 33rd win. Tigers is 33. I don't think Royals has a 53 connection. All right. Royals could get 33rd win. Okay. The Indians and the Twins, 62 and 47. Minneapolis is 62. Minnesota's 47. That's funny. 41-64. Those aren't the numbers. I don't know why I keep doing that. Rangers and Brewers. 26-26. Yeah, I don't think that's it. Double check on the Brewers Gematria. Yeah, right there. Again, the one riddle for the Rangers to upset today is that they could become 9-9 in interleague play. And Brewers is 99, but Brewers had some things going too. All right, the Pirates and the Cardinals. 61-61. It's interesting because we were talking about how St. Louis Cardinals is 61 and Chris Archer could pick up his 61st career win today. So they come in 61-61. But nothing there for the opponent pickup numbers. Diamondbacks and Dodgers. Diamondbacks are 12-7. 59-57. I think so. Alright, nothing there in that. Rockies and Padres. 14-10. 22-21. So the Padres could get their 23rd win today. Colorado's 83, the 23rd prime. We saw that happened with the Astros and Rockies series. Was it coincidental? Let's see what happens today. We just tracked that a few days ago. The Rays and the Mariners. The Rays could become 13-9, just like how Marco Gonzalez with a win today could become 13-9. Seattle, Washington's 139. Mariners can get their 19th win. Seattle's 19. And for anyone who's typing in Seattle, Washington and not seeing it, again, you got to use the exceptions to go back and see my notes. I know this is one of their numbers because it overlaps with the Angels too. It's right here. It's when you use the exceptions with the reverse. It's part of Russell Wilson's contract, and it was part of a ritual earlier this year with the Angels. So I know that number has some relevance to the Mariners in Seattle. And the Phillies and the Giants, let's see. Phillies could get their 76th loss today. San Francisco's 76. Oh, and the Giants can get their 65th win. Philadelphia's 65. Orange Friday. So far, so one pattern I have not seen be wrong yet tracking this day in history is when it lines up on both sides. Haven't seen one of these games not come through yet. So far, this is the only perfect pattern remaining with this day in history. Giants can get 65th win. Philadelphia 65. So that's just looking a little bit too perfect. It's the Giants' 118th game of the season too, and we know how big that number is to San Francisco. Remember, this Sunday, Tisha B'Av, they're doing the tribute to the 1989 World Series Earthquake team. And actually, let's think about this series more in light of that. Let's look at who they got pitching for this series. So Giants look like they should win tonight based on what we just saw. Let me look at more at Tyler Bede's stats. Actually, God, that's one thing I gotta. Oh no! Oh, that's for his career. All right, that was the only Tyler Bede scare, is that for his career, he's 3-7. If he lost, he would be 3-8. I'm gonna document this. I still like the Giants based on seeing this day in history thing, and plus it's Orange Friday. But I gotta document this. Tyler Beede could become 3-8 for a career with a loss. Giants equals 38. He where's number 38? So that's the only scare there, but okay. Anyway, wouldn't make him for the season, just for his career. Let's see what they got going on tomorrow in this game. Velasquez versus Marja. If Velasquez won, he'd be 5-6. The reflection is 65. Again, Philadelphia equals 65. Philadelphia, the city established on the 65 day. Phillies are on 25 away wins. Big Giants number. Philadelphia is also 97, the 25th prime. Okay, what about Sunday, the Memorial Day? Earthquake. Wait a minute, wrong game. Those colors trick me. Earthquake. Arrieta's pitching that day. 8-8. They could always switch around the pitchers by then, but I actually don't see anything super clear with that. What's Arrieta got for career stats? Okay. What's creepy about this is Arrieta could get his 107th win. Remember the 1989 World Series earthquake? The last thing shown on the screen before the earthquake began was Jose Canseco crossing home plate. I'll just show you this real quick. Jose Canseco, check this out. His full name equals 107. His full name's 107 right here, right? And earthquake is 107. And from his birthday, July 2nd in 1989 to the earthquake was 107 days. Check this out. July 2nd, 1989. The earthquake was October 17th. It was at 5:04 p.m. You know, like baseball's 54. 107 days after his birthday. He was the last thing shown on the screen before the earthquake began. So Arrieta can get his 107th win that day. You see how Jose Canseco's name's also 55? Let me put earthquake up one more time. Earthquake 55. So, a little bit too perfect there. Again, it was at 5:04 p.m. Baseball 54. And very interesting that Arrieta can get his 107th win. The other thing we're going to have to consider is he could get his 76th loss, right? Because San Francisco's 76, but I don't know. On the earthquake remembrance, I wonder if that plays more. So, all right, so those are my thoughts on the baseball games today. Real quick before we move on to the next topic, what I want to do is just I want to post these notes in the description in case anybody wants to look at them themselves. And then we're going to move on here to golf and football. But let me edit the post real quick. Just take a moment. So just in the description of the video, I'm going to put it right here. Okay. So when you refresh your screen, it should be there now. And if anything else comes up, I'll be sure to add it. But let's look at the golf tournament that's going on right now. Top events, Little League World Series, more important than the golf playoffs? Here, let's see. The Northern Trust leaderboard. Let's pull it up. So this Merritt guy who's up at the top right now, he has, here, let me pull up the post. The tournament began 78 days before his upcoming birthday, and Northern Trust is 78, Scottish Rite 78. We talked about how the Scottish Rite numbers could be huge in this tournament. Here, let me just show you what his name's like. Oops, I posted this in the wrong spot. Okay. So this Troy Merritt, who's the leader after day one, he had -9 under. What he's got going on is T Merritt is 57 like Scottish Rite, also like PGA. Merritt's 103 like Scottish. We talked about how the name of the course equals 143, Scottish Rite of Freemasonry 143, and also how Northern Trust equals 78 like Scottish Rite. So the tournament began 78 days before his birthday. And he must have been one of the lower ranked people, because we went through the majority of the people. We went deeper than we normally do, but I did not get to him. But the numbers that we talked about in the Scottish Rite theme, it's right there with him. So Dustin Johnson, he won in recent years. Remember, his name's 66. His name's not 66, but when he won it 2 years ago, this tournament, it was 66 days after his birthday, the last day of the tournament. Northern Trust also equals 66. The winner last year, his name was 66. So Dustin Johnson, Tony Finau, who to me had the most interesting riddle of all, right up there, so I like that. Rory McIlroy has the really strong Scottish Rite connections, as we continue to talk about. Justin Rose, if I'm not mistaken, has the 66 connection too. Yeah, Justin Rose is another 66. And here, let's just go through we can just use the post to go through the information. John Rahm. So the tournament began 271 days after his birthday, which is the 58th prime, big Freemasonry number. The tournament ends on a 58 date numerology. The tournament will also end 91 days before his upcoming birthday. Liberty's 91, FedEx is 91. The name of this course, Liberty National. We've seen how the Liberty connections have been important in the history of winners on this course. So that was the John Rahm piece. And, of course, John Rahm's playing really well right now, too. I mean, he's one of the big rising stars on the tour. And Kevin Kisner. Let me see, what did he have going on? So the tournament began 174 days after his birthday, which means it ends 177 days after. Liberty Nationals 177, again, the name of the course. His surname Kisner's 76, like FedEx Cup playoffs is 76. We've seen how recent winners have had the FedEx Cup playoffs connections, the playoff connections. This is the first round of the PGA playoffs. Okay. And Tony Finau. Again, Finau was the guy that really had my eyeballs popping out. So Tony Finau. T Finau's 91 like FedEx, like Liberty. Tony Finau's 44 like FedEx, like Liberty. Tony Finau's like 118. Liberty National Golf Course is 118. Tournament ends 11/8, August 11th. Finau's 84 like FedEx Cup. And the tournament began 37 days before his upcoming birthday. Liberty and playoffs are 37. The last two men to win this course, Liberty National, both of them had birthdays that had the 37 connection with the tournament. So, you know, he's right there. And Webb Simpson. Forget what it is with old Webb Simpson. So his next top 10 was 68. FedEx Cup playoffs is 68. The tournament begins on Webb Simpson's birthday. Began on his birthday. Webb Simpson's 47 like New Jersey. So he was the birthday boy. And then again, Justin Rose is 66. We've seen that number connected to the last two winners. So that's pretty much all Justin Rose really had that I noticed. Oh, you know what else? Actually, I need to update my notes. There's one more thought here that I should have had before. So Justin Rose, the final day of the tournament, will be 12 days after his birthday. Liberty's 37, playoffs is 37, 37's the 12th prime. So that's important too. I should have caught that before. But again, 66, huge number with the last two winners. And then McIlroy, he's Mr. Scottish Rite. We talked about how the tournament began 96 days after McIlroy's birthday. 2 of the last 6 winners in this tournament have had a 96 connection. R. McIlroy's 49 like Jersey City. The playoffs will end on his 100th day of his age. Playoffs is 100. R. McIlroy's 49, 103, 113. Scottish's 49, 103, 113. Again, big Scottish right theme here with the name of this tournament and the course. Liberty National Golf Course 143 like Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. And then Northern Trust 78 like Scottish Rite. We talked about who Adam Scott. He was the last guy to win this tournament on this course. Scottish Rite. Had a lot of the Scottish Rite numbers in his name. He had the 96 as well. The 147, 57, 78, 80. I mean, just masonry numbers all over the place. 39, so 58. So again, it looks like we've clued into the right set of numbers. And I imagine if you took the advice that we talked about, right now things are looking good. There's still a whole lot of tournament left. But yeah, so again, use this document. I'll continue to update it throughout the tournament. And last night I screwed up because I updated the draft and then I saved it. And because see what I have here, where is it? See how I have this draft version and then I have the published version? I meant to get out the notes last night, but I forgot to put it in this version, which is the one that you guys have a copy of. So I won't make that mistake again. I updated it early this morning because I went to look at, and I was like, wait a minute, where's the updates? But so anyway, apologies, that won't happen again. Each day when the tournament concludes, the notes should be put in at the bottom of the page, just like how if you go to the very bottom of the document, you got the update for day 1. So okay, so that's golf. I'm enjoying doing golf. It is a lot of work, but it's hard work that pays off. That's what's nice about it. So seems to pay off week after week. And with regards to football, oops, wanted to be on this page. If you didn't watch last night's live stream, a few things I want to talk about. So again, I'm still trying to come up with a strong pick before the season begins. And, there's a really strong narrative there for the Saints. Very interesting storyline for the Colts as well. Possible Saints-Colts rematch. There was something... the game I want to talk about first is this Packers-Texans game. Again, we knew something was going to be up with this game because there was a news story on May 15th about a shooting in Wisconsin. A man wearing a Packers Aaron Rodgers jersey, to be more specific, shot a first responder. Here, if you watched this last night, sorry to be redundant, but just for people who weren't here, I want to make sure they have this information. So there was this story. Body cam video of shooting that killed Appleton, Wisconsin firefighter Mitch Lundgaard. And the shooter was wearing an Aaron Rodgers jersey. You can go watch this video. It couldn't be any more obvious how fake it is. But the other story was that J.J. Watt made a donation of $10,000 to the family of the victim. And J.J. Watt, he played his college ball in Wisconsin. He's from Wisconsin. But this shooting happened May 15th. That's the 135th day of the year. And look at the name of the victim and look at the name Aaron Rodgers. Perfect overlap, right? So May 15th, 135th day of the year, Aaron Rodgers jersey shooter, Mitch Lundgaard the victim. And we talked about, they blamed it on a black man, go figure. By the way, in addition to the black man, don't forget Freemasonry sums to 59 in Hebrew and English. The Freemasonry symbol, the capital G like the Packers symbol. in light of how much emphasis there is on August 11th this year, how many things have been synced with August 11th? Again, it's the day the Packers franchise will turn 100 years old. This year will not be their 100th season, but they've still been established for 100 years. The only two teams in their 100th season will be the Bears and the Cardinals. Once upon a time, they were the Chicago Cardinals, the home of the NFL. But anyway, remember Appleton, WI equals 139. So does Green Bay. So does Freemasonry. So does the name of the quarterback they had start last night, Kaiser. Wisconsin Packers shooting is all 44. So from the day of the shooting to the Packers opener was 113 days. Again, Scottish is 113. American football credited to a Scottish Rite Freemason. And the body footage the footage of the shooting came out June 13th. The shooting was May 15th, supposedly. The footage came out June 13th. That was 84 days before the season opener. Green Bay Packers 84, Masonry 84. J.J. Watt from Wisconsin, 84, donated money to the victims. They said the shooter was a 47-year-old. Go figure, huh? Like the 47 degrees on the Masonic compass. And so anyway, this story connected Green Bay Packers and the Houston Texans, right? Through Aaron Rodgers' jersey, through J.J. Watt. Green Bay and Houston both 77. We saw the death of Bart Starr 77 days before August 11th, the Packers quarterback. Okay, that's their establishment date. And also the shooting was 88 days before the preseason game 8-8. And let me get up the score here real quick for what the final score was last night. Where's it at? Must be down here. 54 points. Now that's interesting too because this will be the year of Super Bowl 54. We talked about how Jesuit orders 54. Okay, so that's interesting. 54 points. 54. Okay, the first two touchdowns of this game scored. What we talked about last night. Let me pull up the notes to show you this. So the starting quarterback was Deshaun Kaiser. His name's 139 like Green Bay. The first touchdown of this game was on a fumble defensive recovery by the Packers. And the player who scored has this very interesting name, St. Brown, Catholic. His name sums to 100, right? This will be the 100th NFL season. The game comes 3 days before the Packers' 100th year anniversary. The Packers have been needing a defense to support Aaron Rodgers. By the way, Aaron Rodgers equals 63. We saw the massive Aaron Rodgers 63 ritual last year, which I called the NFL head office about, his 63rd home win all time at Green Bay. But this year, the Super Bowl's on Aaron Rodgers' 63rd day of his age. Now, again, as I say that, I want to remind people that the Super Bowl for the second time in NFL history will be on the 33rd day of the year. The last time it was, the Seahawks defeated the Broncos. And Seahawks equals 33. They're one of the few teams with a connection to that number. I also pointed out how last night's preseason game between the Seahawks and Broncos could be a tribute to that Super Bowl because it was exactly a span of 2014 days from that Super Bowl, which was in 2014, and the Seahawks did win last night pretty convincingly. Broncos scored a late touchdown to make it closer, but Seahawks had a pretty big lead at the end of the game. Anyhow, this guy who scored, his name's 100. And I noticed the drive was 3 minutes and 22 seconds. That's funny. So fumble recovery touchdown. And this guy went to Notre Dame, right? This guy went to Notre Dame. We had the weird fire with Notre Dame this year. The Notre Dame coach died, was it the day of the fire or a day before the fire or a day after? I forget, but it was right there. Notre Dame coach dies. You got Notre Dame, as they pronounce it in Paris, burning. But not only does he score the first, touchdown, but then the quarterback who started last night, Kaiser, he went to Notre Dame and he got the second touchdown. Also, this guy right here who scored the first touchdown, his name equals 251, the 54th prime, and then you end up getting a score of 28 to 26, 54 combined points. Oh yeah, and then the guy who scored it was also a span of 54 days from his birthday. Oh, hold on, you guys. Let me pause for a second. The phone's in a completely different room, charging, and maybe you guys have been contacting me throughout this. I can't hear the phone at all right now because it's on silent. Give me 1 second to go grab the phone in case anybody's phoning in with anything. I haven't had it this whole time. I'll be right back. I apologize, you guys. There's been like 100 calls. You guys have been calling in a lot. I'm sorry. Okay, I have the phone with me now. But the first guy to score, I mean, just what a perfect ritual. I mean, he's got the 100 connection. He's got the 54 connection. It's a span of 54 days from his birthday. I mean, you couldn't have a better ritual. And then Kaiser got the next touchdown. What I noticed that was weird is in light of the two Okay, so again, remember, Notre Dame is Catholic, right? And this year's the Super Bowl 54. And we know how they love to sync things up with the Pope, the first publicly Jesuit Pope. Jesuit order equals 54. So maybe this year, Catholic numbers are even more important than they typically are. And in light of them doing a news story that's synced up with this game, and then this just amazing ritual that they pulled off in the preseason game, it's really got me wondering where they might be going with this. Also, it's a span of 116 days from the fire, this first game, and Packers equals 116. What's up, Izzy?
Hey, I don't know. I know you get a lot of text messages. I don't know if you received my text message. I was working yesterday, so I couldn't see the video. But about Kyler Murray.
Well, what happened to Kyler Murray? What happened to Kyler Murray? I haven't gone over it yet.
Well, Kyler Murray, it wasn't much in the news, but his birthday was on Wednesday. And even when he talked about it in the news conference, he said it like in passing, like it wasn't no big deal. And on top of that, so that was Wednesday. Thursday they had the official first game, and today it's guess whose birthday it is? It's the coach's birthday. So how everything lined up and synced.
Okay. All right.
So and that's it. And they ended up winning.
Okay,
so,
let me take a peek at it real quick here.
So it's just kind of strange, but it seemed like a gimme.
Let me see. So the Cardinals are another Catholic team, right? They got the Catholic theming, the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, it just seemed like 2 birthdays. The starting quarterback, and the coach sandwich in between the game. How perfectly planned.
Say that again?
It seems how perfectly planned 2 birthdays sandwiched in between an NFL game.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, I've talked about this before, how players and coaches, a lot of times they have synchronized birthdays with teams. Again, everything's perfectly scripted, so.
I mean, because they could have played today, or they could have played another day, but it just happened right there, right? And the coach and the quarterback right between both days. Well, that's all I got. I know you got all the comments and stuff.
All right. Appreciate it, Izzy. Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Okay. So anyway, this just because he brought up Kyler Murray, I just wanted to again remind he's the former Heisman winner by the numbers. Playing at Oklahoma. Oklahoma puts out 2 Heisman winners 2 years in a row. Baker Mayfield won it 239 days after his birthday. Baker Mayfield's 239. And Kyler Murray, the draft this year was in Nashville. The ritual remember, I said Kyler Murray. Some of you guys bet on Kyler Murray to go number 1. I mean, it didn't pay a lot, but it was Lock City, so it was all just so perfect. Nashville, Arizona, that's where the draft was. Murray, Sooners, Kyler Murray, 167, the 39th prime. And The draft to his birthday was 105 days. Arizona Cardinals is 105. Arizona's 105. Sooners is 105. Talked about how the Raiders had 3 picks in the first round. Another note. Kyler Cole Murray, his full name, came right after the death of Reggie Cobb. Reggie Cobb played his college ball at Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, so this former NFL player died right before the draft that was held in Tennessee. So you see the ritual: college player in Tennessee dies, has the same name gematria as Kyler Cole Murray, 86, like blood sacrifice. So anyway, just want to remind about that. Caller?
Hey there, Zach.
Hey, what's going on?
I've been kind of following. I think the Chargers are going to be in the Super Bowl. I still think that. I don't know, but I'm still learning. I noticed the Giants-Jets game had a delay due to thunder and lightning. 59-minute delay.
Is that? I did see there was a delay, and I wondered what was going on. Okay, that makes sense. It wasn't rain; it was lightning and thunder. And okay, I got to look more into that because I've seen these rituals by the numbers too. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it seems like Chargers have a thunderbolt on their helmet.
Okay, I just want to stop you right there. So look, the Chargers are interesting this year, especially if it is about Drew Brees this year because that's his old team. But just consider that they've done these lightning and thunder rituals with these games before, and the Chargers haven't won the Super Bowl. So I wouldn't put too much stock in that.
Oh, that's fine.
But I do see where you're going maybe with Eli Manning, since Eli Manning was drafted by the Chargers. So, okay, I hear you.
Yeah, last year when the Seahawks played the Chargers, it was a Week 9 matchup. And Russell Wilson threw a pick 6 to Desmond King, returned it for 42 yards. And this moved the score to 25-10, like 251, the 54th prime number.
Okay.
And then King wears the number 20.
And this was a Seahawks game, right? Seahawks, you said?
Seahawks Chargers game.
Russell Wilson equals 54. That's always a big number with his career too.
Yeah. Plus, I think. Let me think. There's a complete overlap between NC State and I think Seattle. The word Seattle and NC State. There's a perfect overlap. Where Phillip Rivers went to school, NC State, and Russell Wilson went there as well. NC State. Let me pull that up real quick.
All right, yeah,
I think it's Seattle.
Let me do it with you. I'll see what I see.
So, yeah, we got 82, 19, 107,
oh, yeah.
44.
It's perfect. It's just like Seattle. It's exact same.
Yeah, so I don't know what that is, but just something to throw out there, and we'll just keep following along and, learn from you because you're the stud at this. So.
Well, hey, great observation. I never caught that before, so yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
All right, man, let's get back to it.
All right, thanks. Yeah. And that was good timing for him to show that because I was just showing how Sooners and Arizona Cardinals had all that overlap too. So there's another example. Russell Wilson, NC State, Seattle. Okay, so I just wanted to pound home the point about the rituals in this Packers game and remind about some of the rituals we've seen with the Packers this offseason. The Packers did beef up their defense this year. If Aaron Rodgers, played really well, and he should be playing with a chip on his shoulder because you kind of hear how the media is dogging him. I haven't watched. I should be watching more sports stuff in light of covering sports every day, but I mean, honestly, I'm like spending all my time decoding. But I did have on the TV for a little bit, and just in the little bit I was watching yesterday, I just heard a lot of different comments, kind of derogatory comments about Aaron Rodgers, and I was just thinking, what's Aaron Rodgers going to do this year? So, and then watching this game yesterday, I was like, wow, the tributes just, they couldn't be any better, so. Caller?
Yo, it's Lane with a Y. It's Lane with a Y. It's Generation Y. Zach, what up?
I just gotta let you know my best buddy growing up playing baseball, the best baseball player I knew, his name was Lane. So what's up, Lane?
My name is Lane with a Y. It's like Stanley Lane.
Just like his name, yeah. My buddy Lane, he had a Y in his name just like that too. So okay.
Yeah, it's fucking lit. It's Generation Y. That's the name of my brand.
Okay.
Generation Y.
Okay.
I've been watching you for years, bro. I know you got the code, okay? I watched you back when Muhammad Ali, Kimbo Slice. I watched some great videos from you, man. And I want to let you know I just subscribed to the Patreon. All right, it was so easy for me to give you this money because I understand the investment in the industry as far as gambling and sports, and this is all a corporation. So I'm right here with you, bro.
Well, I do appreciate that. Thank you, friend. Yeah, you have been here a long time because I haven't talked about that Kimbo Slice story for a minute. So
that Kimbo Slice and Muhammad Ali died in the same weekend. You know what I mean? That's
right.
Real shit right there, bro. Like that. Like the history and how you connect it, man, it does a lot. So I'm upstate New York, Rochester. So Buffalo Bills, okay, our first game this season against the New York Jets. So I want you to dig a little bit into.
Well, you know what's up with that. You know what's up with that game already, right? Don't you?
No, talk to me.
Bills and Jets, they both equal 54. It's the year of Super Bowl 54. And here, since you haven't heard this before, you got to know this one too. So if you use Jewish Gematria and you type in New York, you got to know this one about this year. If you type in New York here in Jewish Gematria, you're going to see that it sums to 1,485. What that number is if you add 1 through 54 together, it's 1,485. So New York even has this connection to 54. Last night I was watching to see what Sam Darnold did on his opening drive. Darnold equals 68, right? If you go back and look at Darnold's box score last night, his opening drive was 68 yards right down the field, touchdown. Of course, 68's the year the 68 season's the year the Jets went to the Super Bowl and won it. But not only was his drive 68 yards and his name 68, but the guy that he threw the touchdown to, I forget his name right now off the top of my head, but here, I'm going to get it right here. The receiver who caught the touchdown, it was this Crowder dude. Jamison Crowder, I think. Yeah, here it is. What do you think Jamison Crowder equals?
68.
It sure does. Bam, in our most pure cipher. And his name... Whoa. And his name's also 167. Actually, now that I'm looking at this a second time, that's like 16-7, the score the Jets won the Super Bowl with at the end of the 68 season.
Shit.
And 167's the 39th prime, like how New York's 39 and, NYC's 39 and all that, NY. So actually, there's a lot to this Jamison Crowder catch here. But this is why last night we did a live stream just trying to keep up on all the information that was coming in, just seeing what we could gather from the scripting, and we caught some big ones. So
54, Bills versus Jets, Super Bowl 54 tribute. Good luck, Zach. You're the best, man. Keep it up, man. I got you on Patreon. I tell everybody to support, yo.
I appreciate it. Thanks, friend.
All right,
man. Have a good day.
Peace.
See you. So, yeah, and if you were watching the live stream, I was talking about how Darnold's name equaled 68 and, the Jets year in 68. And just before the game started, then he went right down the field for 68 yards. I was like, speak of the devil. There it is. There it is. And I got to go back. Remember how his first career pass was a pick six? Wasn't it against Detroit? You see how pick six is 37, Detroit's 37? If you go back, you'll see it was a 37-yard interception return. Hold on one second. I got to take a call. Hello? Yes, who's this? Say that again? Oh, thank you so much. We'll be by. I appreciate it. All right, take care. That lady had a thick Spanish accent. I got a dentist appointment later today. So, all right. Let's see. Okay, so those were two of the big ones yesterday here. Let me just scan the notes that I did take yesterday, and then let's look at some of the later games. I missed the later games because I had to do an interview, plus my head was spinning off my shoulders. My vertigo's back. Okay, the Colts and Bills game. There wasn't... Actually, before I look at this... All right, hold on. All right, what's up, man?
Hold on. Hey, oh my God. Speaking of devil is 68, bro.
What's up?
Did you hear what I just said, Zach?
Speak of the devil in 68?
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean?
is 68 in the purest fucking cipher, just like Dark.
Oh, the phrase equals 68?
Do it right now, man, so all your listeners can see and they see I'm not bullshitting.
Yeah, you're right. That's crazy. That is crazy. Huh. Amazing. Well, there's that organic side.
Yeah, man. That shit crazy. Alright, I'm gonna let you go. I ain't got nothing, man. I'm just observing. I didn't even have this shit turned up. Like, I had it on low because I'm talking to my people. Professor Aquafresh is on the phone, by the way.
What up, what up?
What's up, man?
Oh, man. Yeah, this is crazy. Remember I told you about the number 14 being the number of the year. So I'm just sitting here looking at NFL Network and the replay of the Lions and the Patriots. And at the bottom ticker, they had Tanny for the Giants. He had like 14 completions or 14 pass attempts. Kyler Murray threw his first completion. We all know the whole thing about the series of first with Arizona. I know you covered that. So his first completion was from the end zone to number 14. He finished the day 10 of 14, 104 yards.
Dennis, I gotta let you know something real quick. 14 is always huge in football because football's 43 the 14th prime. So that number always comes up a ton. So you gotta know that because I know you're newer to this study. So you're gonna see that number a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta keep paying attention.
It's just like last night. Last night we liked the Ravens to win, right? Because they were going for their 14th straight win in the preseason, and then they were facing Jacksonville, and Jacksonville's 43 the 14th prime. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, they played. I don't know if it was last year's, and that's coming up on the bottom ticker. That's 0 to 29. They played them in. Was it London? Did the Ravens play Jacksonville in London, and they either shut them out or they beat the shit out of them?
I'll look it up right now. Let me see. Ravens, Jaguars head-to-head. Would this have been last year? I forget. Here, I'll be able to figure it out. Here, hold on a second. Ravens, Jacksonville.
I want to say it was in London.
Hold on, I'm looking up the games here. So last year they played September 24, 2017. That game was in Wembley Stadium. It was last year. The Jaguars won 44-7. And, God, was that week 3? Was that week 3 of the NFL?
It was probably the first London game.
Let me think. Last year the first Sunday was, I think, September 9th. So 10th. So no, it probably would have been week 4. But yeah, they did blow them out, 44-7.
Yeah, Jacksonville, not Baltimore.
Jacksonville won 44-7.
Yeah, that's right. And that's total of 51. Yeah. Let me see. They're showing Matt Patricia on the TV right now. He was 6-10 last year. That was his first year, second season this year. I'm just kind of looking at the numbers, trying to dissect everything as it comes across, seeing if anything else lines up with, what you're doing now.
All right, well, if you want to keep looking at it and you find something, call me back, because I just want to keep going over the notes of the big things that stood out last night.
Oh, okay, my bad.
No, it's all good, man. I appreciate it.
Okay, no
all right, yeah, all right, later. Yeah, I'm picking up the phone the rest of the way. I wasn't ignoring anybody's call earlier on purpose. I just had the phone in the other room like a fool. I forgot. So, okay. So yesterday I wanted to see how many of the 54 teams won yesterday. So Bills equals 54, just using the alphabetic order, just like Jets. So the Bills won, the Jets didn't. Okay, so the 54 teams were 1-1. Redskins equals 54. They lost. Let's go over our Browns notes real quick. Aren't they up here at the top? So Baker Mayfield came right out and went right down the field, 77 yards for a touchdown, putting up 7 points like a jackpot. We saw that it was Mayfield's 117th day of his age, 11-7, 11 times 7, 77. Ohio's 117 in Jewish. And Rashard Higgins caught the touchdown from Mayfield. A span of 61 days from his birthday. Ohio 61, Cleveland Browns 61. So nice Ohio tribute, the birthplace of football, on their opening drive. And the next touchdown for Cleveland was a defensive touchdown by a man with an 83 name. Cleveland Browns is also 83 like football. A lot of hype for the Browns this year. And for those of you who weren't here last year, we called that Browns losing streak ending perfectly because it was all synced up with Jim Brown. So when you decode Browns games this year, don't forget about Jim Brown. Last year when the Browns ended their streak, it was 216 days after Jim Brown's birthday. Again, the Browns haven't won anything since the days of Jim Brown. But Cleveland's the 216 area code. And you might recall they put in Baker Mayfield that game just before halftime. He had 47 yards passing. Ohio's 47. But anyway, so that was that. Let me go back to the games here real quick. So again, our 54 teams. Bills won. Jets lost. Redskins lost. So the 54 teams were 1-2 so far, but there's more 54 games here. The Patriots put it on Patricia. Tennessee Titans equals 54. They won. So our 54 teams were 2-2. We like the Ravens to win yesterday because they won their 14th straight preseason game. So many streaks, when they get into that 14 range, they'll go to 14 and they'll end there. The word end equals 14. Jacksonville again equals 43, the 14th prime. So there were some guys who liked that game yesterday. One on that. Ron Rivera, in his coaching career, he's now 2-0 against the Bears in the preseason. Of course, he used to play for the Bears. He's on that 85 Bears team that won the Super Bowl. National Football League 85. The Bears won the Super Bowl the 85 season. Haven't won anything since. Chicago's the birthplace of the NFL. The Packers. Again, most interesting game to me yesterday was this one right here. The Catholic rituals, the Notre Dame thing going on. If you just tuned in here, we talked about how the first 2 touchdowns scored were both by Notre Dame players, how it was synced up with the Notre Dame fire, and also just the ritual of the first defensive touchdown. The player's name was 100. It was 54 days from his birthday. It's the 100th NFL season. It's Super Bowl 54. His name also equaled 251, the 54th prime. So, and then you get a 54-point game to top it off. And it looks like, so it was quite a blowout, but the Texans rallied, I see, to get those 54 points. The Cardinals won, again, 54. Jesuit order equals 54. Year after year, we show the rituals with the Pope and the NFL and the rest of the world of sports. Could be extra big this year. Jesuit order, that's the Catholic, Cardinals, Catholic, Jesuits, red and black. Keep my eye on the Cardinals and the Falcons this year. Cardinals won. Falcons lost, didn't they? Falcons lost. Seahawks, again, I had a feeling the Seahawks would win. Like I said this looks like a tribute to Super Bowl 48 where the Seahawks beat the Broncos. That was in 2014. This game was exactly a span of 2014 days from the Super Bowl. And again, that was Super Bowl 48. Seahawks equals 48, and the Seattle Seahawks won with 43 points. Seattle Seahawks 43, like football's 43. They beat the team from Colorado 43. There was a Simpsons cartoon about where Homer Simpson bet on a Broncos and Seahawks game. And if I remember right, he bet on the Seahawks and lost a lot of money. So I think that Simpsons cartoon was connected to this Super Bowl as well. You have to go back and look at that. Notice the Broncos lost with 14 points, 43 the 14th prime, like I was just telling Dennis. 43 and 14, always big in football. Football 43. Jacksonville 43. Ravens win 14 straight. Let's look a little bit more at the box scores and the scoring summaries early in this game because we didn't do these ones live last night. So Locke, this Locke guy, dude, you're not NFL talent, man. I hate watching these professional athletes that get paid millions that suck at their sport. I mean, this guy can't hit the broadside of a barn. Doesn't even make sense. Anyway, let's see. We'll look at the scoring drive here in a second. 39 attempts. Russell Wilson's got the 39 birth numerology. 39 rushes. Remember, Seattle, Washington, 139, the 34th prime. 24 pass attempts. Seahawks, 24. Let's see. Okay. Let me see how the scores were. See if there's anything special. So start off with a field goal. Another field goal. Okay. 6-3 at the end of the half, huh? The first touchdown was an 85-yard drive, National Football League 85. P. Lynch to T. Wright. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. I don't think it's gonna be Russell Wilson's season. I'm just looking at guys who could have big years. It's not gonna be P. Lynch, so I'm not gonna sweat that too much. 68-yard drive for the Denver touchdown. What do you think Denver equals? Denver, 68. Okay, let's see. Again, Russell Wilson is 54, and this year what's really interesting is how Russell Wilson's from Cincinnati, and the Seahawks' first game is against Cincinnati this year. So I'm wondering what kind of year the Seahawks are going to have. That's the only, well, I guess Seattle has MLS, but does MLS count as a major sport? I guess it does now. All right, this Cardinals game. So Los Angeles, Arizona. Different conferences. Kyler Murray, 44 yards. 6 of 7. 83 yards rushing, football 83, 179 for the Chargers, 41st prime LA 41. Let's see the scoring drives. Justin Jackson. '87, 31-yard run. Well, nothing screaming out there to me. I think we caught the bigger rituals yesterday. Again, Jets are a super interesting team to me this year. So, they're my big sleeper team. Bucks and Steelers. Was that a Super Bowl? Am I making that up? Was there a Buccaneers-Steelers Super Bowl? If there was. No, maybe they won one in Tampa Bay? Let's see, did they win one in Tampa Bay? New Orleans, Miami, would have been more recent. Miami, Pasadena, Detroit, Michigan, Tampa. This is what I'm thinking of, that Cardinals Super Bowl. This is the game that everybody thought was over early. Until the crazy comeback. I just want to see how many days it is from that Super Bowl to today's game. 2009, August 9th. I don't think that's a prime number. Okay. Yeah, I don't see too much symbolism in that game other than the Steelers won a Super Bowl there. Vikings and Saints. So this is the Minnesota Miracle rematch. And they haven't played each other since that game, I don't think. Vikings. So again, Drew Brees this year. He's going to turn 41 years old just before the Super Bowl. Super Bowl's 41, like how Brady won it at age 41. And from Drew Brees' 41st birthday to the Super Bowl's 19 days later. It's the 2019 season plus Saints is 19. So, and don't forget, Drew Brees is 54. New Orleans is 54. And this year, Houston Texans equals 156. Drew Brees on Monday Night Football to open the season September 9th, 9-9. He can get his 156th regular season win over the Texans. So he's got a nice alignment from the start of the year. Again, that game's on MNF, Monday Night Football 33. When you write out 33, it's 156. So, and again, that game's on 9-9, Drew Brees 99. Again, despite everything I'm looking at, the team that I like the most as of this moment to be in the Super Bowl is the Saints. The alignment is just perfect. The Saints got it taken away from them with the Minnesota Miracle. Then last year with the no call by the former Rams player referee. Of course, really, the Saints cost themselves the game by not running the ball at the end. They could have been in the game if they would have just had some pee-wee level coaching skills, but of course we know it's all rigged and scripted. So anyway, Vikings, Saints, have they played each other since the Minnesota Miracle? Let's see. Okay, they did play each other last year. October 28th, 2018. Oh, and you know what? Today can be written 9/8, and I'm pretty sure Vikings is 98, just like they hosted the Super Bowl in the 98th NFL season. Remember Super Bowl 52? That was the 98th NFL season. Vikings 98. Minnesota's 52. So today's date kind of has a Vikings connection. But what day was that game? October 28th to today. And 285 days. The Vikings are an interesting team this year for two reasons. One is their quarterback, Cousins, his surname's 100, like the 100th NFL season. Oh, by the way, today's August 9th. I don't know if he'll be on the field, but see what Cousins does today if he plays. And the other reason is they have more games than any other team on primetime scheduled for the second half of the season. Now, the thing is that those are subject to flex scheduling. If the Vikings disappointed, all those games could be taken away from them. But right now, from the start of the season, they have more games scheduled on primetime for the second half than anybody. And it's like, okay, does that mean the Vikings are doing things this year? So got a caller out in Minnesota who's huge on the Vikings this year. Just like I got a caller in Cincinnati who's huge on Cincinnati this year. They're both 100% sure those teams are winning the Super Bowl. But sometimes that hometown bias is real. So Dalton's interesting, though. Dalton's 96, Cincinnati's 96, and the Super Bowl is 96 days after his birthday. There is a cat theme going on in the movies. So we still got a lot to figure out. That's why I'm working hard behind the scenes trying to get all this stuff together to present it. We still got about a month till kickoff. Well, we got a month till the first Monday Night Football. We got a little bit less than a month, but we'll get a lot figured out between now and then. Last night, Jeremy, he dug up this document. Let me get this document here that Jeremy dug up. Jeremy's good at finding things. Jeremy found this site that has preseason coaching records. So, caller?
Hey, sir, sorry to call you back again. I had another tidbit
That's
I wanted
okay.
to share.
Yeah.
Maybe we can learn from. The Los Angeles Times reported on July 25th that Russell Okung had gone through a kind of a procedure or something where he could have died. And there was a blood clot or something on June 1st. So from June 1st till the time they reported it was 54 days. And Okung used to play for the Seahawks. And so June 1st is the 213th with 213 days remaining, and area code for LA is 213. There's an area code in LA for 213. And then when it was reported on July 25th, it was the 206th day of the year. 206 is Seattle.
Right.
So what have you seen with those types of riddles before? What does that mean?
Well, I don't know if I've ever seen a specific blood clot riddle before, but I'd have to look at this. That is interesting that it was the 206th day of the year. You're right about that, the Seattle area code.
Right.
And, well, you know, the thing about the Chargers and the Seahawks is they used to be in the same division, too. So.
Yeah, when Russell Wilson threw that pick six last year, it was inside the 53rd minute had been completed, so it was inside the 54th minute of the game.
Okay, yeah, that's another good observation.
So anyway, so it's on the Los Angeles Times, just says Chargers, Russell Okung survives near-death experience after blood clot in lung. So.
Okay, yeah, I'll look more into that story. Here, let me just see what blood clot equals. Let's just see. Blood clot. Something else that's jumping out about that date to me is it was July 25th, 25/7, like 257. That's the 55th prime. Los Angeles is also 55. Let me see if blood clot is 55 in one of the exceptions here.
They also emphasize
No?
near death. They try to put the quotes around it. Near death.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it more, how it synced up with his birthday and stuff. I do see the near-death emphasis. Let me check that out too. All right, here I'm gonna hang up and do a little decode on this in real time so I can use both my hands because I'm holding on with one hand.
All right, thanks,
All right,
man.
yeah, no problem. First, one more caller. Caller, what's up?
Hey, Zach. I'm glad I reached you. Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about 811 or 118. And I noticed today, or I saw on Instagram, one of my friends posted a picture of the Bellingham Bells game last night. And the Bellinghamster, which is their mascot, had a jersey on with 811, and right under the middle number 1 had a shovel, like breaking into ground.
Huh.
So I thought that was interesting. And I was looking online for the Bellinghamster's jersey, which is completely different than what they had yesterday or last night on 8/8. So, and also 8/8 was 145 days until the end of the year, and Bellinghamster sums to 145, and they were playing against the Corvallis Knights, and Knights is 88 in Gematria. So.
Interesting. Yeah, a lot of symbolism out there. On my main news channel, I put up a story that was circulating in Israel about foxes running along the western wall and how that's a symbol that the third temple is near. So that was 8/8 as well.
Yeah. I just saw that one this morning, but I just thought that was interesting. And also, I got a text message from my mobile phone carrier, and they notified me of my bill. They gave me a reminder at 8:11 in the morning on the 6th of this month that my bill was due on 8/11.
That's funny. All right, man. Appreciate the heads up.
That's all I had.
All right, thank you. All right, take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, so let's see if there is something to this Russell Okung story. So let's do what we normally do, measure from the birthday and all that. So near death, they emphasize that. Near death. I'm missing something with my Chargers numbers. Chargers. 137. Russell Okung. Whoa. 35. That other big preseason story is on the 135th day of the year. Near death. Okay. Los Angeles Chargers. Los Angeles Chargers is 100. It's the 100th NFL season. All right, maybe it has something to do with the distance from his birthday. Russell Okung. Whoop, I spelled it right. Birthday. October 7th. I'm trying to remember what Charger player it was that lost his baby last year in the playoffs. Right around the time they got that playoff win, and just before they got beat down by the Patriots. It wasn't Okun, I don't think. I can't remember who it was, though. All right, July 25th. What was his birthday? October 7th? October 7th. 74 days before his birthday. San Diego 74, what the Chargers used to be. Span of 75. Where'd the story go? Okay, so July 25th, again, it's the 206th day of the year. Sacrifice in Jewish Gematria is 206. July 25th, 25/7, like 257. The 55th prime sacrifice is also 55, so is Los Angeles. Could be, I'm sure this is connected to something. Oh, come on. Is the Chargers season opener September 8th? Chargers. September 8th versus the Colts at home. Colts Chargers. Let's see. $45 days. It's a span of 46. Didn't I just see that somewhere? Near death or blood clot or something? Blood clot. Huh. Span of 46 days to the start of the season. Sacrifice is also 46. So cool. Russell Okun has that 150 in his name. What is it this year? Is it Super Bowl LIV? Is that what it is? Yeah, it is. Super Bowl LIV. Wait, his name has a lot to do with Super Bowl LIV, doesn't it? Russell Okun. So he has overlap in 3 out of the 4 ciphers with Super Bowl LIV. And again, we did see San Diego Chargers is 100. July 25th. How about to the Super Bowl? It's 192 days, or a span of 193, which is the 44th prime. The day of that story, July 25th, 2019, was a date with 71 numerology. The 20th prime is the 2020 Super Bowl. Chargers. All right, I'm going to think more about that. But yeah, his name does have the connections for the upcoming Super Bowl. This doesn't mean the Chargers are going to the Super Bowl. They are an interesting team to me, though, especially because of Drew Brees. But if we read about Russell Okun dying or something, I would think that, yeah, this is some sort of... How's he doing right now? There's almost every NFL season, there's at least a few players that die. I mean, if we end up reading about his death, well, we'll know what's up with the start of this story and just that his name connects with the Roman numerals for the Super Bowl. Okay. Well, it sounds like they plan to have him back. I'll keep this story in mind here. So, what's October 7th, his birthday anyway? The day leaving 85 days left in the year, National Football League. Okay. Let me see. Oh, they didn't update that. So this isn't updated from yesterday's games, by the way. This document hasn't been updated. Sean McDermott, by winning yesterday, became 4-5. Buffalo Bills is... Again, Bills is 54, right? And Buffalo Bills is 45. And if you use the rule for S, because S can be 10 as well, Buffalo Bills is also 54. So Bills and Jets opening up the season. Bills 54, Jets 54 in both, plus the New York thing. I'm sure that game will be a big 54 ritual if you watch it. I'm sure you're going to see 54 of this, 54 of that. They're probably putting up 54s on the screens. All right, what's going on in the chat? Yeah, I think Martin is right there about the Browns. Lots of hype for the Browns this year. AFC is also 71. There was a ritual last year with that tie game between the Steelers and Browns to open the season. I think it was the first tie since 1971. Let me see that. First week 1 tie since 1971. Let me see if my memory is right. Yep, see that? Browns-Steelers games in first NFL Week 1 tie since 1971. I remember talking about this last year because Browns is 71 and AFC 71. And then that was 47 years later, right? And Ohio's 47 and Time's 47. Caller?
Yeah, Zach. I was going to see if you can walk down back this the baseball game with the Yankees and the Blue Jays for me, because I know you had said Hap could get the 89th loss on 8-9, but he also can get the 119th all-time career win, and it's the Blue Jays 119th game.
Well, that is very possible because, again, there's a strong riddle for the Yankees to sweep this series. So pretty much the only thing that I see going wrong is Hap getting that 89th career loss on August 9th. And if the Yankees do lose today, I don't think they'll lose another game in the series. I think worst case scenario for the Yankees, they drop one in this series. So.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking maybe tomorrow because and then his birthday, Hap's birthday is October 19th, so it's like a 911 connection on this game. But I was just trying to dig in deeper, and I know this is Hap's first game back playing Toronto because he used to play for Toronto.
That's right.
So this is his first.
That's right.
First game. Yeah.
That's a good observation. I forgot about that.
I decoded it. I've been using your methods. I really like the Yankees, so I was just calling you to let you know about that 911, and maybe you can sync something up real off top real quick.
All right, let me go back and look at the day that Hap actually joined the Yankees from Toronto because I think that's going to be part of the riddle. So.
It was July 26th, 14 days ago.
July 26th, 2018.
Yeah. Yep. 14 days ago.
So 365 plus 14, so 379 days ago?
No, he just got traded this. If I'm not mistaken.
No. Hap's been on the Yankees since last season, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So he did pitch against the. Well, yeah. If you could, because only thing I couldn't do with this game, I got the Disney history and all that, but I couldn't get the splits for some reason. I wanted to see what was his record against the Blue Jays.
Yeah, here I'll do that for you. All right, yeah. Here,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I'll do that real quick. Okay. Let me make sure you got the date, July 26th, right. So that is perfect, right? Because July 26th is New York's birthday. So he was traded to New York on New York's birthday. That's also the first governor of New York, George Clinton, his birthday too. So July 26, 2018. So that is 379 days ago. It's a span of 380. Ontario's 38. Oh, is 379 prime? Okay, 379 is the 75th prime. Let me see. Hap. Make sure he doesn't have a connection to these numbers. J.A. Hap. Toronto. Blue Jays. I don't think these numbers connect to the teams. 75th prime, though. New York Yankees. All right, let me see. Has he really not pitched against Toronto since he got traded? Because they play each other so much. Here, I'll just look at this a little bit more. I forgot about the fact that this was his old team. $71 days. Funny we were just talking about that number, huh? 71 days to his birthday. All right. So here's how you get to splits. So like if you just do a search for J. A. Happ stats, it should pull up Pro Baseball Reference. So you go there, and then what you want to do is this tab that says splits. And maybe on your phone it looks a little bit different. Maybe that's the trick. But you want to find this splits, and then go to career. And then, you know, I'll do like a search for Toronto, but you just scroll down until you got to Toronto Blue Jays. And they'll show you the total games and some of those numbers. But if you want the win-loss record, he's 3-1 versus the Blue Jays. So he has faced them in his career. And I forget if he played for anybody before Toronto. Okay, Philadelphia, Houston, yeah, he did. So he's 3-1 against Toronto for his career. And here, he must have faced them this year. Let's see what his stats are this year against Toronto. Unless you're right, it just seemed weird to me that he hadn't faced them at all. Okay. Yeah, he's 1-1 against them this year with a 2.19 ERA. So, I forget, is this game in New York or Toronto? I think it's in Toronto. Yeah, it is, because I was saying how we could get that loss in Ontario. 4:07 p.m. Again, if the Yankees sweep this series, they will get to 36 wins. Toronto's 36 in both reduction ciphers. If the Blue Jays lost all four, they'd get to 74 losses. They already lost one yesterday. New York Yankees is 74. But Happ with a loss would be 9-7. Ontario's 97. And he could get his 89th career loss today on August 9th. So those are the things to consider. Down in the description of this video, this live stream, there are the notes that I have for baseball. So what else could I think of with Happ? Here, let's see what Happ's career record is at Toronto. Or wait, this is just for 2019. Let's see his career record at Toronto pitching in that stadium. (34-24). 89 is the 24th prime. If he got his 35th win, Yankees has the 35 connection. Ontario's also 97, the 25th prime. Could become 9-7 on the season with a loss. But again, personally, I don't think I would mess with that game because the Yankees probably aren't a very good payout. And there is some cause for concern with Happ. We saw how on this day in history the Yankees could get their 49th win and Blue Jays is 49. So let me see who Happ will face next. If he faces the Athletics or something, then I'd be real concerned. Because you know about Athletics in 97. Faces the Orioles next. What is he, 9-? So if he got a no decision, he'd still be 9-6. Orioles is 96. Could happen. But yeah, just go over the notes. There's some upsets that I would be willing to take a shot on today. There are some nice payouts. So go back to those notes I put out. Remember what we said about Robbie Ray upsetting Strasburg in the last start, and he did, and how that would set up this game. And the riddle is nice there today for that. So okay, I'm gonna go back to football. Sorry I didn't come through with something better, but or I'll do one more thing for you that I can think of. Hold on, Pro Baseball Reference. All right, so we got Aaron Boone with the March 9th birthday. What's his record right now? 176 and 101. It's not going to help me out. And Montoya, is that the manager for Toronto? 47. Yeah, it's his first season. That's right. He has the same thing going. If Toronto could win one game, they could also get to 48. New York has the 48 connection, but it really will make a lot of sense if the Yankees sweep the series just based on the team records. That 36, that 74. So go with your guns, but I don't see anything that's definitive with either pitcher. So, all right, let me see if there was. Whoops. There was anything else I wanted to cover. I think we hit the big points. Again, I'd only bet on a preseason game if you can see like a good strong riddle. Like we found one last night with the well, we obviously found one in the Hall of Fame game, right? We went 2 for 2 there. We had the Broncos and the under because the Hall of Fame game's different. There's history to that. But then last night we picked out that the Ravens could win 14 in a row. We know how often streaks go 14, plus they had the perfect opponent. Remember, 43, the 14th prime, huge numbers, especially in football, because football's 43 like Jacksonville. And I had an inkling here on the Seahawks, too, just because it was 2014 days from the Super Bowl in 2014 where the Seahawks beat the Broncos. So you gotta fill out things like that. I wanted to see like if all the 54 teams won last night. They didn't, just because maybe there could be a theme that way. Again, 54 teams included the Titans. They won. Included the Redskins. They lost. Included the Jets. They lost. The Bills. They won. So I'm going to pay attention to that week after week. We might be able to track down a pattern with the 54s. Maybe get something in the later weeks of the preseason. But anyway, I think I want to wrap it up here, you guys, because I still have a bunch of work to do behind the scenes on the football document I'm putting together. I want to get that to you as soon as possible so you can begin studying it, and then we can talk about it. I know we're going to have a great football season because from doing this for a year straight, I've learned more than I knew, and we've already done well in the past. So, and in this document I'm putting together, it's gonna help a ton. So I see a really great football season. I also want to figure out a really smart future before the season starts. Last year, right before the season began, we thought it would be Patriots over Rams, and that's exactly what it was. So try to mimic what we did last year. And keep it going. So let me check the chat before we go. Let's see. Martin Brown says, last time Browns won their season opener was in 2004. Well, wouldn't that be 15 years ago? That'd be 15 years ago, right, Martin? Which is also relevant because Ohio's 47, the 15th prime. But I'm pretty sure that's 15 years, 2004 to 2019. 191st home win. Baker Mayfield, newest, so he's got some new endorsements. It's obvious that they're trying to make him a big star. So from college football to the NFL. For today's preseason games, for the guy who said who's winning today, I don't see anything that makes me want to take a stab at these preseason games. Again, preseason's not like the regular season. You don't have the splits to work with. You don't have the team history records. So unless you see a clear riddle, again, the Hall of Fame game, we saw how it was all synced up with John Elway in Super Bowl 33. That's why we liked the under, because the under was at 34. So we're like, okay, it should be maybe a score of 33 points was my pick. The first score of the touchdown was the first score of that game was by number 33. But then also we just saw, the way it was synced up with Elway and the Broncos and the death of Pat Bowlen. So And also the history of the Hall of Fame game. Colorado won their first Hall of Fame game in 43 years. Colorado equals 43. Caller?
Yeah, this is some deja vu-y shit. Right when you said you don't see anything clear in the preseason games, I looked down at the screen and saw you had your mouse on Vikings Saints. Anyway, and that almost done threw me off of what I was calling about. Jesus Christ.
Well, what's going on? What do you see?
I see something about the Saints and the Vikings. So I pointed out in the chat earlier. Let me mute the TV. This is the first preseason meeting between these two teams since 2001, and we all know what happened in 2001 at the end of the season. And I told you it's going to be,
it doesn't go back.
We spoke, you know what we talked about. So, what's my point? Damn, that threw me off because it made me lock in on you pointing to that.
Okay.
Anyway,
well, Vikings equals 98.
Or whatever.
Vikings. I was saying Vikings does equal 98. It's the date can be written 9-8. I mean, that's the only that's the only thing I see in the date numbers. That doesn't mean they're going to win. So it's just one thing that stands out.
Actually, I think the Saints might win.
Well, Saints got the 54 connection, right? But yesterday the 54 teams were hit and miss. Actually, let me think more about that. Let's see what. Let me again count. Maybe there'll be a theme by the end of the week one of the preseason with the 54 teams. So okay, let me go through this again. So
I was go ahead. I was gonna say I remember what I was gonna say.
Oh well, do that, and then I'll think about this 54. So go ahead with your thought.
Okay, so your boy Martin Brown. I don't know if he's from Cleveland or what, but he's talking about the Browns. I was going to say to you, did you do anything on Baker Mayfield with his first photo shoot where he had a Rolls Royce and a tiger in the background?
I didn't know about that. Is that recent?
No, that was like before he even took a snap in the league. After he was drafted, I think he had signed, and that was his first highlight, was that magazine, whatever he was in, or promo. He had a tiger in front of him, a Bengal tiger, and a Rolls Royce behind him.
Okay, I didn't know about
Rogers, my name is King Fibonacci. If you're listening, you're obviously listening because he's in the chat.
Okay, so where are you going with that?
That's what that's what I was asking you. Like something just, I don't know. Like I don't know if you decoded that or knew about that or.
Was it a striped tiger?
Yeah, it was a real tiger.
Okay, well, I noticed that this year in his season, 239 days after his birthday, his name Baker Mayfield equals 239. When he won the Heisman, it was 239 days after his birthday. But this year he's going to play the Bengals 239 days after his birthday, so the Ohio battle. So I thought it was interesting that they synced that game up that way. And so now just you bringing up the tiger thing. I mean, it's a tiger, Bengal. It's similar. It's not the same, but striped, so... I'm just wondering if maybe there's something to that, too. So I'm going to have to go back and look at that.
Okay, yeah, do that. But yeah, you should be able to find that photo, no problem, on Google.
Rolls-Royce, Tiger, Baker Mayfield. Those are the keywords?
Yeah, Rolls-Royce, Tiger. Yeah, Baker Mayfield.
Okay, I'll figure it out.
But yeah, like I said, that totally threw me out. I don't know what it was, and I had this vision of... People don't bet on my visions. I'm just talking to Zach. But I had this vision of the Saints. I think it happened before. But anyway, I mean, it's the first preseason again. This is my point about 2001. 2001, we saw a first-time champion, New England. At the end of the season.
So it'll be 19 years later when the Super Bowl comes around. Or no, it'll be 18 years because that was the 2001, 2002, right? Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to see it again. This is what I told Zach a long time ago. We're going to see a first-time champion, and there it is. That's a foreshadowing. The fact that this is the first preseason matchup between these two teams that have had more than one memorable regular season matchup and postseason matchup in between those years, that's significant. And everyone should take a look at that.
Okay. Just real quick, just starting to look into your Baker Mayfield thing. I just see that Rolls Royce equals 52. I was just talking about how Baker Mayfield equals 239, the 52nd prime. So there's probably something to that. I'm gonna have to think about the Tiger piece.
333 octal. Can you explain that too for the people and myself personally? I think I know, but
Are you talking about what octal is?
Representation of 8, meaning 8 can go into that number or whatever it is.
Are you talking about when it says in octal? So that's base 8. So that's like when you count 1 through 8 and you don't count up to 10. 239 becomes 333 in base 8. That's a lot to explain over the phone.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
If you look up what base 8 is, base 8 counting, you'll be able to figure out how it works.
Okay.
Yeah. Computer programmers use that. So Derek's a computer guy, so that's why he included that in here. It is interesting. Right. There might be something to it, but I've never used it to decode sports. So.
Okay. And I'm just able to look at the numbers and see the relationship. Like how I told you, the man who taught me was like the second coming of John Nash. He wasn't just as old, but he's old. The guy that taught me how to handicap. And now I guess something's been passed on to me because I'm able to see these relationships, but I can't fully explain them yet. But yeah, that 333 and 239 in duo. I'm sorry, that's it in duo. That's duo. Octo is on the other side, 357, like 357 Magnum. Okay. Can you do me a favor before you leave? Type in deja vu. What is that? In Gematria Database.
Let me see. Deja vu. 63. Paris is 63. 36. Paris is 36 too. This makes me think of France numbers.
Paris, like Paris, France. Or Paris, the brother of what's it called in the Odyssey.
Okay.
Hector.
There you go.
Yeah. Speaking of the Odyssey and Achilles. I was talking to Andrew Liberato. He said something about Tom Brady. We all heard it before, him falling off a cliff. Or it was somebody else. It was somebody else about Tom Brady and something about knee or ACL. And I said, something. It's in your chats in one of your last videos or whatever. He said, and I said, no, Achilles heel. That's his. So who knows? But no, okay, yeah, he's bulked up. That's the story. He bulked up, right? So if you know anything about physics and the human body, how you tear your Achilles is when you put so much force or thrust, in the bottom half of your body, and the body can't support that kind of weight, so you're going to tear a muscle, and it's going to be the thinnest muscle, which is the Achilles tendon. Right. So, if he truly bulked up, which he doesn't look like he has, if all of these photos that I'm seeing of him are recent, and then,
the least athletic body in the NFL, Tom Brady. So,
say that again.
I said the least athletic body in the NFL, but
Exactly. So it's I was telling Andrew, I feel like it's more money to be. Conventional thinking is it's more money to be had for him to be on the field throughout the duration of the season, and then for him to go down in the Buffalo Bills game, the second one, if it's going to be the Buffalo Bills. The thing about this whole Buffalo Bills thing. And Tom Brady and Lion King is that in the movie The Lion King, they weren't buffaloes. They were bulls that trampled Mufasa and killed him.
Right.
They had horns. Buffaloes don't have horns. So I guess you got to do your homework on what, Bills, bulls, the Gematria of bulls and what other animal or whatever team, Situ or whatever is playing the Patriots and,
Right.
That's probably where you're going to find the team and the day and all of that good stuff. So,
okay. We'll think more about it. I do appreciate it. All right, let me finish this thought about 54 and see if we think you got anything with that Vikings Saints game. But
okay.
Thanks, man. See you.
No problem. All right.
Okay, so let's see if we can think of a number that might actually make sense here with the 54 teams. So the teams that have the 54 connection are the Bills. So the Bills won. The Jets as well. The Jets lost. So 1-1. Redskins lost 1-2. Redskins is 54. Titans won. Tennessee Titans is 54. 2-2. not going to. Russell Wilson didn't even play, but Russell Wilson's 54. So far the 54 teams are 2-2. The Saints got the 54. If they won, they'd be 3-2. NFL's 32 teams. Is there any more games this week? What other games are there? Bengals and Chiefs, they're not 54. Rams and Raiders aren't 54. Hey, the Super Bowl is 112 days after Jerry Jones' birthday, which is something to think about because Super Bowl's 112. Here, let me go back and look at the 54 teams, how it was home and away. Let's see if there was there something with the home 54 teams? All right, so Bills were home, they won. Jets were away. So, all right. Redskins were away, they lost. Titans were away, they won. Again, it's so hard to do the preseason because we don't have the variables we need that we use in the regular season. But so far in the 2 games that we've taken a stab at, we're 2 for 2. So, but we had something to go off of those games. I'd be making the assumption that, because one team with the 54 connections won at home, there's only one game to go off of. But if the Saints did win, 54 teams would have a winning record for Week 1. It is the year of Super Bowl 54. So, I wouldn't bet on that personally, but I'm just thinking out loud and what could make sense. So, 3-2 NFL, 32 teams. And then tomorrow's games. Okay. Anyway, let's wrap it up there. The baseball notes are in the description of the video. I'm going to go back to grinding on that document so I can get it done ASAP. I still got to put in several hours to finish. I keep thinking I'm almost done, but it just takes time to put in the information that I am. So the good news is it'll save us a ton of time when the NFL season rolls around. And it's going to be a thing of beauty. All right. All right, you guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Be back tomorrow at the regular time. Apologies for the late start if that inconvenienced anybody. I was just running slow today. I got my vertigo back and also wanted to hit some of these news stories that are pretty big in the news. Want to get that information out there. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good luck. Until next time.